Hey there, everyone. Kristy-Lee here, and welcome to episode number 9 of HR for Small Business. Happy Friday. Yet another short week that we've been enjoying. And for those of you in Queensland, I think you've got a few more long weekends on the way for you. So I do hope you all enjoy those. So back here again for another episode of HR for Small Business, which is our weekly video series where I share a strategy, a snippet, a tactic, a tool, or a technique when it comes to managing our people, whether it be hiring new people into our business, leveraging the talent that we already have in our business, exiting people when that needs to happen, or anything else when it relates to our people. Now, if you are joining us here live in Facebook, and we're going live into our free Facebook group, HR Support for Australian Businesses. So hello, if you're joining us from there. You will just need to give StreamYard permission to use your name if you would like to make a comment or ask a question, which I totally encourage you to do. StreamYard is just a tool that we're using here inside this live video today. So otherwise, all I see is Facebook user, which is totally fine, but it's just great if I know who's asking the question. We're also going live over on LinkedIn as well as to our YouTube channel. So hello to you if you are joining us from those locations today. Now, today we are talking about a very specific topic that I've been talking a lot about lately. So I thought it was the perfect time to have a chat about this topic here on HR for Small Business. Today, we are talking about the power of creating clarity for our team. Because so often we feel like we don't want to be bossy or rude or feel like we're, coming down too hard on people or being too direct with them. And in doing that, as leaders and as business owners, we sometimes fail to give clarity. So today we're going to talk about why clarity is important, and also I'm going to share 3 ways with you that you can create the clarity that your team is craving right now. Now, before I dive into that, for those of you who I don't know and I haven't met before, hi there, my name's Kristy-Lee. I'm the founder and director of a HR consultancy practice called the Footprint Group. And I'm also the founder and director of an online HR community known as People Powered HR. I'm the host of the People Powered Business podcast and co-host of the Grow Your Influence podcast with wonderful Juliet Robinson. Now, I've been working with teams, building teams for businesses and helping businesses with their human resources for more than 20 years now. And clarity is one of those themes that comes up over and over and over again. When I'm first working with a consultancy business, if they've got a problem with a staff member, a team, the culture, almost always things come back to a lack of clarity. Whether we've failed to give clear direction, whether we haven't set picture clearly for our team, whether, and this is really often the case, we aren't clear ourselves what we're trying to achieve, what the exact problem is, or what we're trying to change in the business. And when we're not clear, how on earth can we expect our team to be clear about what we expect from them? So for the last 10 years, I've been working exclusively with small to medium-sized businesses on all aspects of their HR. And throughout that journey, I've learnt what the key elements are of successful HR practice in small business, because I'm here to tell you, it's not what works in big corporate. It's certainly not what I was taught when I did my master's in human resources management. And it's not the things that you think it is. Small businesses are unique, and it's why they're my favorite type of business to work with. I grew up in small business. I grew up playing on the factory floor at my grandfather's timber factory. I grew up knowing what a great team was because he had that exact team. So I've grown up understanding the dynamic of small business. And whilst I certainly did my stint in corporate, it's not the place I want it to be. And so I have dedicated the last 10 years to understanding what really makes the best teams in small businesses tick. And clarity is one of those really key ingredients. So why are we talking about clarity today? And why is this more important than job descriptions or employment contracts or having exit conversations or terminating a staff member or hiring a new person or anything else we might be doing in our business? The thing is, no matter which HR matter you're dealing with or what HR strategy you're working on, clarity is king every step of the way. And it is, in fact, despite what you might think, and this might seem a little counterintuitive, clarity is actually what our team crave from us. Fundamentally, our people want to know a few key things from us at the surface level. They want to know what is expected from them. What are we after from them? They want to know how they're going against those expectations. And of course, they want to know what the future holds for them. They want clarity. They want clear direction. They want certainty about what it is that we're asking from them. And of course, like anything in business, clarity is good for business. When we have clarity around our people and our team and our structure, things work better in business. Now, I don't know about you, but if you've been building a business for any length of time, there's probably come a time when you've lost that sense of clarity. And I know I found myself in that situation as well, because we're in the weeds. We've got all the plates spinning and we're going through the motions, doing the things we think we need to do, or putting out the spot fires that are yelling loudest at us. I don't know whether that's familiar to you, but it's definitely familiar to me. And I saw firsthand what this lack of clarity could do to a business, because when we lack clarity, the wheels really start to fall off. So when I was first growing my consultancy practice, about 16 years ago now, I started my consultancy practice. When I first started that practice, I had very, very clear focus and direction. I knew that we were bringing something new to the market. I knew exactly what services we were delivering and how we were going to deliver them. And it was that clarity, that real sense of laser focus that allowed me to quit my corporate job and set up my business in offices, business name registered, business cards design, the whole kit and caboodle in the space of 7 days, because I had that clarity. And that clarity is what helped me build a really successful consultancy practice. We were growing 30% plus year on year. We were growing the team. We'd moved offices 3 times in the first 3 years because we kept outgrowing things, which is, moving offices is never fun. It's certainly never fun when you're 8 months pregnant, as I quickly discovered. But I had the clarity. The vision was clear. And so the growth happened exactly as it should have. We were successful by all the measures, winning awards, great profitability, all of those things. But at some point there, probably around year 5 or year 6, I was so busy doing all the things I thought I needed to do to continue to grow the business in this trajectory that things got a little fuzzy on the clarity front. I was starting new brands and new divisions left, right, and center. And of course, when you do that, and when your attention gets split in all those different ways, unless you really focus on bringing the clarity back, then it's very easy for the wheels to fall off. And I saw that start to happen. Things were getting missed. Things weren't happening as they should. And we weren't continuing on that same trajectory because I'd lost the clarity as the leader. And it impacts the team. I had team members who were starting to sort of ask questions and feeling a little uncertain. We had new team members coming in and out. And so my lack of clarity started to directly impact the team. So like anything in business, when we've got clarity, we make better staffing decisions. We make better decisions with our team members on the job, and we are more clear about what team members we need to bring on next and how we need to manage our existing team members as well. So today I'd love to share with you 3 really, really simple ways you can create the clarity that your team is craving right now. And this, in fact, may even be the clarity that you didn't know that you needed right now. So are you ready to dive into the 3 ways that we can create clarity for our team? All really simple, okay? I promise, nothing too complex. The first recommendation I have for you today is to create clarity around your organizational structure by doing an exercise that I call the clean slate exercise. Now, if you're a member of People Powered HR, or if you have listened to me talk about this before, you will know this is something I recommend a lot. In fact, I got off a call no longer than half an hour ago recommending this exact exercise. It is such a powerful exercise to use at different stages in the business cycle and at different times of the year, but it is gold in terms of giving you clarity about not what your organizational structure looks like now, but what it should look like to set you up for success now and into the future. And I'm going to give you a really, really quick overview. If you're interested in knowing more, let me know in the comments, and I'm going to send you a link to a podcast episode or a blog post, whichever you prefer, where I cover this in a bit more detail. But the clean slate exercise is this simple. What you need is, as the name suggests, some kind of clean slate. I love to use a big whiteboard for this exercise, but you could use a Word doc, a mind map tool. I've seen someone do this in a spreadsheet version, clean piece of paper, whatever works for you. But you need a blank piece of paper. Now, the hardest thing you're going to need to do, and this is truly the hardest thing, is you need to forget about your current structure and your existing team just for a moment. Because if you go into this exercise trying to start with them, you're never going to create the perfect structure. You're going to create the structure you've got now with maybe a few little add-ons and additions or moving things around. But that may not be the ideal structure for your business right now. So forget about the exact roles you've got in place right now, whether they're part-time, full-time, casual, what you're contracting out, what you're doing in-house. And forget about the people you've got working for you just for a moment. We are going to come back to them, so don't panic. Because if you go into this exercise thinking, oh, Jane's the most important person in my business, I need to make sure that I'm thinking about Jane first, again, you're going to miss the goal, you're going to miss the red flags in doing this exercise. So put that to the side. And the second thing you start to do is you start to map out what needs to be done in your business right now in order to fulfill on your current orders, capacity, workflow, whatever it looks like for your business. And what I'd really recommend is you actually start with your role, you as the business owner. Because otherwise, what ends up happening, and I know many of you will have been in this situation before, as have I, you end up doing all the things that no one else is doing, which may not be the things you really love doing or necessarily are particularly good at. So you create your dream role first. What is it that you want to be doing in the business? And you start to map that out right at the top of the paper or the whiteboard. And then you start to populate out what else needs to be done in the business. Perhaps you need customer service. You need someone to answer calls, handle queries, process orders, deliver on orders, whatever that looks like. Start to map that out. Now, this will start very high level, and then you can start to get granular and detailed. And as you do this, again, you're not thinking about your existing team. You're thinking about what you need in your business right now, what the ideal structure looks like for now and for the next 6 months. You'll start to fill out roles effectively, because you'll see that over here in the account space, we need someone to do the processing, the payroll, the payables and receivables. We need someone to do some reporting. And you know your business. What is the capacity for resourcing there? Is that 3 hours a week? Is that 2 full-time roles? Is it 1.5 roles? Only you know the answers to those questions. So this can take some time, and you might come back and visit this a few times over, and you start to map out the ideal roles. And once you start to understand the resourcing, how many hours, how many people you're going to need, and the ideal roles, you'll start to see, okay, we need 5 people here, we need 1 person there, we need 3 hours a week here. And it will start to map out for you. Now, once you've done that part, and again, this is a very quick version, we can get more detailed. This is where you bring your existing team back and you lay them over this new structure you've just created. And here's what you're going to find. You are going to have some perfect fits where Jane, your superstar, is your best customer service person. She's full-time. You know you need a full-time customer service person. Perfect fit. Great. You're also going to have some gaps. So perhaps you've identified you need someone doing marketing. Maybe that's its on your plate right now. I don't know. But maybe you've identified you need to do someone running your social media, handling marketing activities, emails, those kind of things. And when you bring your existing team back, you realize you don't have that resource. Maybe you don't have it at all. Or maybe you've got a few hours a week of that resource, but you need 15 hours a week of that resource. That's okay. But what you have there is a gap. And the third thing you're going to have is some surplus. And this is where maybe you've got someone who's fulfilling a role that's been around a while. And as you've mapped out your ideal resourcing, you've realized, actually, I don't need that role. Maybe it's a receptionist. And whilst we all needed a receptionist 10 years ago, do we all need a traditional receptionist now? Not so much for many of us. And so as you bring that role back in and that person back over, you might have some surplus, someone that's not being fully utilized, someone who you just don't have enough work really to realistically fulfill the hours that you've engaged them for. And all of those things are okay because this gives you the information you need to know what to do next. Now, Quick answer, if you've got surplus, you're looking at a retraining, a reshuffle, or an exit strategy. If you've got gaps, you're obviously looking at either a retraining or a hiring strategy, and your perfect fits are good to go. But doing this exercise will give you so much clarity about where you have gaps and resourcing needs, where you have underutilized people, and what you need to do next in terms of the growth of your team. What position needs to get filled next, or where do you need to make some change? Now, this particular exercise is great clarity for you as the business owner. This is not so much for your team. However, you having this intel and knowledge helps you to set your team up for success. So that's the first thing you can do to create clarity right now. The second thing you can do to create clarity right now for your team is to clarify roles and responsibilities by reviewing, or if you don't have them, creating your position descriptions. Now, position descriptions in my mind are the key of all HR documents. The boss, in fact, is what I refer to them as. They are your best friend when it comes to managing performance, setting performance expectations, and creating total clarity for you, for the person in the role, and for the rest of the team about what that role is responsible for. What are the parameters, the reporting lines? What are the KPIs, objectives, goals, targets for this position? It is essential to have up-to-date position descriptions in your business in order to give you and your team clarity. So if you don't have position descriptions, get them together. If you don't have them, let me know in a comment and I will get you a resource that will help you with that. Or if you have them but you haven't checked on them for a while, haven't reviewed them in a while, have a refresh. And you know what? Little tip, you don't actually have to do all of the work yourself. You can get your team involved and have them review their position descriptions. Let you know what they don't do anymore, what's been added since, what's changed. Let them help you with this process. But it is imperative you have up-to-date PDs. And the third way you can create clarity that your team is looking for right now is to have a strategy meeting. And let me share why you want to have a strategy meeting. If your team don't know where you want your business to go, what your vision, goals, objectives are, how can they possibly help you get there? They can't. But so often we're not so great at communicating that with our team, or we sometimes over-communicate it with them and get too granular. What you can do in a strategy meeting is not only share this vision, these goals, these objectives with your team, but importantly, find a way to get every employee aligned with your goals and objectives. How can their role and them personally contribute to getting there? Because that sense of clarity gives them a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, a sense of this is how I'm contributing to what we're trying to do here. Now, this can be in the way of KPIs, which I've just discussed in the position description. This could be in the way of quarterly milestones or even monthly milestones. This could be in the way of purely helping them understand how their role fits into the machine that is your business and how it impacts everything else that flows on from their role. Because so often our employees can sometimes feel like they're isolated and what they're doing really doesn't contribute to the greater good of the business or to the results that the clients are getting or whatever the case is. But everyone in your business has a role to play in that success. And if we can engage our employees with that, they become more engaged, more motivated. They have clarity about where they're trying to go and how they're trying to get there. And this gives them a sense of purpose. And it gives them that clarity to know exactly where the business is going and where their role is going in relation to that. So to sum up those three key strategies, clarify your organizational structure by doing the clean slate exercise. And again, if you need more detail on that, let me know in a comment and I will get you the podcast, the blog, everything you need around that. Step 2, clarify responsibilities and duties by creating or updating your position descriptions and creating KPIs. And I can't see your name, I apologize, but I know someone wants a copy and I will make sure I locate who that is and get you a copy of that resource, no problems at all. And step 3 is to clarify what you're aiming for, where the business is going, and how each individual role can help you get there by having a strategy meeting and engaging your team with that vision. If you could take one thing from today's episode of HR for Small Business, I would love it to be to implement one of those three things. Give your team the clarity that they crave, because it's going to be great for your business. It's going to take the pressure off you, and it's going to help you create a more engaged and motivated team that's going to help you kick some butt when it comes to your business. So I hope that has been useful for you. Thank you so much for those that have joined me live here today on HR for Business. If you are catching the replay, just pop in #replay and let me know how I can support you as you create this clarity for your team. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you back again next week for a brand new episode. Take care.